a general mimer anyway. It's a basic mimer. You didn't turn this on. Did?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Sorry. Okay, we're going to go to next week, Vaeschanan. We'll go to the page, Yud Aleph, second column. Okay, the pasuk says, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad v'Yohavta. So, we need to understand, Lam Hisker beis pamim Hashem. Why does the pasuk say twice, Yud Kei Vav Kei? It says, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. It should say, Hashem Elokeinu, Echad. Gam tzarich lahav in Parsha Shema. Shema, why did the concept of Shema? Shalosh and Asifa. Shema also means to gather. Like it says, Vayisham Shol Sa'am, Shol gathered the nation. And so he says like this, Shema means gathering. Shema, Gam Loshin Havana. Shema also means to understand. Here, meaning understanding. So, Likkutei, you have like this, gathering, understanding. In Hebrew, we learned already many times, Yohavta is a commandment, you shall love Hashem, and it also means future, you will love Hashem. What the pasuk is saying, when a person delves his mind, and he'll understand that Hashem Echad, Yavel v'chinas v'havta. Loshin also will eventually come to love Hashem with both hearts. Vishnei yitzirach, meaning shafilo hayetzahara hu nichnu batul agabi yavas Hashem. The b'chol v'ochet, even the yetzahara will come to love Hashem. So the Alter Rebbe says like this: Shema means gathering. Shema means v'havta means and understanding, and v'havta is a commandment and you will. So he says, what does that pasuk mean? When a person meditates into the greatness of Hashem, that Hashem Echad, v'yahavta, you will love Hashem. Not only will you love Hashem with the nefesh ulikis, but you'll love Him b'chol levacha, even b'shnei yitzrach, the nefesh habamis also. V'nei kol echad ve'echad eim beis pa'amim b'chol yem krish m'shachar za'arvis. Every Jew, there's a mitzvah twice a day, b'shach b'chol v'kumecha. And you go to, meaning the time you wake up, and the time you go to sleep, or really when you wake up and when you go to sleep. So it's a mitzvah to say Shema twice a day. So the Alter Rebbe is asking a very simple question. Everybody says Shema twice a day. Yet none of us read v'yahavta. I mean, Alter Rebbe shouldn't be talking, because he does. But how do we read? The pasuk says basically, if you meditate in Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad, you will come to love Hashem. But Lepel, we don't. So what is this whole story about? So he says, the inyan is as follows. The pasuk says in the beginning of in the Re'eh, look, I'm giving you today life and death. You should choose life. Okay, so the pasuk says you should love Hashem. No, not only that. I'm giving you good and bad, life and death, chaim and tamavis, and you should choose life. What is the definition of life? La'avas Hashem, to love Hashem. I know kol echad ve'echad shereitz lavid Hashem. Every person who wants to serve Hashem, what's important to know? You first have to know that you have free choice. Thank you. If a person wants to serve Hashem, in order to love Hashem, the pasuk says, what is the choosing of life? Then Hashem is your existence. So he said, but the pasuk says like this. Before it says la'avas Hashem elokecha, to love Hashem, it says you should not be aware of the fact that you have free choice. You know, the only way a person could come to really love Hashem is by the realization that you have free choice. But we're not done yet.
Because you want to, not you.
And then it says, okay, so the Alter Rebbe asks, The pasuk says like this. If you take the pasuk simply, the simple meaning of the pasuk says, look, I'm giving you today life and death, choose life. So the Alter Rebbe said, which person? Everybody in the Mefarshim says, who's going to want to choose death? Everybody wants to live. I'm not talking, God forbid, a crazy person who commits suicide. But the person wants to live. So the Torah says, look, I'm giving you a choice of life and death, choose life. Va'adrabba, mi shoiv chayim, hu adrab oiv ha'epach, hainu tenug elam haza. So he says like this. Ve'echsiv v'bachata b'chayim, lavas Hashem alakecha li'etzor v'yisachayim. The Rebbe asks like this. The reality is, when you say, I want to live, what do you mean I want to live? I want to enjoy life. So you're not choosing Hashem. The pasuk says, "Ubachayta b'chayim li'avos Hashem l'kacha k'yuchayacha." So the Alter Rebbe says, "Adrabah, mi ohev chayim, a guy that wants to live, ohev ha'hepach tenug elam haza." So it says, "Ei kosa b'chayta b'chayim li'yitzahara eves chayim." So he says, the Yitzhahara wants to live, but not the Lukus.
Maybe I want to kill Hashem.
Maybe. Okay, let's analyze. Let's take the percentage of the world. You're a tzaddik, nothing. But everybody else beside you. What is the percentage of the Yiddish people that only choose Hashem? Meaning, world doesn't mean a thing to them.
Eventually, 100%.
No, but right now, what is wrong with enjoying life? I don't understand.
Nothing.
The percentage is very low.
The only problem is...
Are you supposed to suffer?
One second. There's a difference between suffering and enjoyment. Those are two extremes. One extreme is enjoying life. Like everybody enjoying themselves. Okay, and then you have suffering, but there's a middle of the path. Okay? The problem is, as Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, the more you enjoy life, automatically the less you enjoy Elokus. The more you enjoy Elokus, the less you enjoy your life, because they're opposites. It's not like Gashmit and Ruchni. It's godliness versus world. So he says, the Yetzirah wants to live, but Yetzirah doesn't want godliness. So he says, what is the definition of life? When the Torah says you should choose life, what does life mean? What is... You just said, what's wrong with enjoying life? And you say, Torah, make up your...
That doesn't mean that I don't think it's contraindicated itself. You see a beautiful flower. You look at it and he says, wow, such a beautiful flower, and you say, Brahan. What is wrong with that? You're not supposed to enjoy that flower?
Are you enjoying it because you are able to make a bracha on it? Or are you enjoying it because it's good for your eyes? There's a big difference. It seems to be a fine line, but it's a very big difference. We'll see. He's going to explain.
But enjoying it instigates, engenders the desire to say thank you for someone that created this beauty. It comes from the appreciation of that beauty. One thing
Chassidus demands, or for that matter, Torah demands, is we shouldn't fool ourselves. The whole thing of Torah is emes. When a person fools themselves, it's not emes. The worst possible thing, according to Chassidus, somebody could do is think they're great when they're ultimately low. That's the worst thing a person can ever do. You know why? Because he never realizes then how sick he is that he needs to be cured. If a person thinks they're great when they're in the pits of being low, that's the worst thing. Because number one, it's full of sheker, full of lies. It's against truth. Secondly, you'll never decide to become better. It's like a person who doesn't know they're sick, so they won't go to the doctor.
Sometimes by thinking you're great, you don't see.
You don't what? That's not that greatness that we're talking about here.
Sorry, Rabbi,
When the Chassid Alter Rebbe said, anytime he wanted to sin, he thought to himself, I'm a great Chassid Alter Rebbe, so how can I sin? Yeah, that is not Gaiva. That's ultimate Kedusha.
I failed to connect it to giving thanks for something that overwhelms me. Its beauty overwhelms me. What does that have to do
The Mishnah in Pirkei Avos says, Ahelech baderech, v'shaina. The guy is walking and he's learning. Umafsik mishnasa and he stops learning. V'omer manoi ilin zeh, manoi nir zeh. He said, wow, look how beautiful this tree is. Look how beautiful this plowed field is. Hayrei zeh mischayiv benafshe. He's chayiv misa.
Yeah, why? I never understood that.
Why? Because you're not supposed to stop learning.
It's Hashem's hand. It's not learned. It's all one.
No. It's not all one. There's certain things that have priority.
Because he was in the middle of learning, that's the problem.
He said he's in the middle of learning.
That's the problem, that's why it's
But he's saying, but what's wrong with it? You're exclaiming God's greatness. It depends why you're doing it. And the worst thing is a person to fool himself to think that I eat the food because I can elevate the sparks of Kedusha. It has nothing to do with my enjoying it, indulging in it, A few weeks ago, we had a big Kiddush in Shul. One of the Goyish workers, not Ayuga, said, whoa, the way those people attacked the Kiddush is like the guy said, this the Goyish waiter said, it looks like these people haven't eaten for years. He said, I never saw that in my life before. That's what he said. And you're telling me they're doing it to make a bracha.
But Rabbi,
Do me a favor.
something beautiful.
That's not anti-Semitic.
Rabbi,
No, he's not anti-Semitic. He said the truth. I say the same thing. I say the same thing. Every rabbi will tell you the way people attack Kedushim in any shul, every shul.
breakfast, so what? So we didn't have breakfast, so I'm hungry.
I
Rabbi
understand.
Shusterman, the way I understand the lesson today, Chassidus demand us not to enjoy life and be in the suffering mood. That's how Hashem.
Well, you said now you're going to opposite extreme. There's a difference. Enjoying and suffering are two extremes.
Look, I was.
But again, I'm talking about not enjoying the ruchnius. That's a lofty level for a person. The pasuk says, "Tzaddik eichel l'seiva nafshe." A tzaddik eats for the sake of the neshama. Hillel, when he went to eat, said, "I'm going." The Alter Rebbe brings on the Tanya, and he's going lim al chesed u'ma'aluva. I'm going to do a favor to my embarrassment, my disgusting thing. So we're not talking on that level. But there's a difference between living to eat versus suffering. Those are two extremes.
Okay, so I see.
Okay, can it be in the middle?
All right, so I see an ice cream. I want to have it.
No.
I see a bracha and have it and enjoy the heck out of it. What sin have I committed?
No sin at all. But you didn't mekayim the mitzvah kadeshim to you. According to Alter Rebbe and Tanya, you lowered that food into sholosh kibsat tameis, even though you made a bracha on it.
Also,
Yeah, because you didn't eat it for the right purposes. That's what he says in Tanya. Look, Perek Zion.
Rabbi, why did God create such beautiful, amazing things? That has nothing to do with our love.
It has to do with
Its function is only beauty.
it's the concept of comprehending our realization of how great Hashem is. When you see a beautiful flower, yeah, like you said before, and you realize that, wow, look at Hashem's world.
Right.
That's what your primary goal is.
Right.
That's good.
Right. So what's wrong
But
with
when you eat food, okay, because the flower is a flower, but when you're eating food, and you're eating it because you need to elevate the food, and if that's the purpose why you're eating it, then you're not particular in what you eat. That's the fundamental difference. The Friedrich Rebbe taught, and the Friedrich Rebbe said, and lie, people need parenting classes. The Friedrich Rebbe said, since I'm a little kid, I was taught what he served is what you eat. That doesn't mean you can't like the food. But the point is, okay, they gave me this food I'm eating, but I must have this food. That's a big difference. It's a fundamental difference.
Right, what about going on vacation for enjoyment?
Again, if the ultimate purpose of vacation is to take a break, because then you'll be able to function better, then it's holy. I understand, there's a very fine line, but we learned this a million times in Tanya, a million times in Chassidus. That's what it's all about. What?
When do you know that you're thinking greatly about yourself, fooling yourself, when you know that this is helping you, how do you differentiate?
Oh, come on. 99.9% of us, 99.9%, unless you're a tzaddik of Tanya or a Beinani of Tanya, that's what it is. Come on, who are we fooling? How are we fooling ourselves?
No, but psychologically you were saying that...
Because we're not great. No, you're saying, how do I know? Maybe when I think I'm great, it's to serve Hashem. Since when are we great?
You're a Russia, it's going to make you ba'atzvus.
Not that the Alter Rebbe says you should be kabeinani. But the Beinani means I have a struggle. I'm not great. I'm far from where I should be. What do we learn in the other Maimer? A person has to meditate in the Richukim Hashem. Yeah? How distant he is away from Hashem.
But thinking you are great helps you.
No, it doesn't. It makes you egotistic. That's all it does. It's the source of all evil.
So how did the chassid of the Alter Rebbe do it?
Because on that level of a chassid of the Alter Rebbe's chassid said, I came to the realization how it's below my dignity of who I am, not because I'm a great person.
Okay, so that's what I'm asking.
No, that because we don't have that today. Do me a favor. That's the biggest problem. We're fooling ourselves. We're fooling ourselves.
I'm not talking about my drink, I'm talking about psychological view of yourself.
Psychological chassidus is not that I'm great. I'm good. My neshama is great, and therefore I need to behave infinitely better than I do. And compared to what I should be, I'm far from great. That doesn't mean you're bad. Chassidus says, I'm good, I'm doing good. It's when we do good, I'm doing good. Yet you realize that I'm not great. That's the modesty of Moshe, humility of Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu had what to feel great about. Yeah? Moshe Rabbeinu, number one man. He had a right to feel that he was great. But what did Moshe Rabbeinu feel? No, I'm not great. Yeah, I got the Torah. Yeah, I spoke to Hashem. Yeah, I did all that. But that doesn't mean I'm great, because I should be much greater. And therefore, if I could be much greater, and I should be much greater, I'm not much greater, so I'm not great. That doesn't mean he said, oh, I'm great, and therefore I can do more. No. Greatness, my neshama is great, and therefore I have a power of infinite ability, because my neshama is a part of Hashem. And just like by Hashem there's no obstacles, for my neshama there's no obstacles. And therefore I could do much more.
I mean, what about that Hashem gives some sas of the simcha? Two sas of the simcha. You're not supposed to enjoy the simcha?
The simcha of mitzvah, simcha shel mitzvah? What is the simcha?
New car.
It's a chatuna.
So simcha of new car is not kedusha. Because if you need the car to get from place to place, you can get a shmata.
Why? It takes me to shul.
And you get a shmata car, won't take you to shul. No.
No, you become happy when you
Why?
No, simcha
That's
of
human nature.
chatuna.
What's wrong?
That's human nature, but that's the avodah of Chassidus. That, I'm not saying it's a sin, you're a Rasha Gamor. The bottom line is, a person should, that's what Alter Rebbe is saying over here also. If you're indulged in the world, then it's a contradiction. The Alter Rebbe says that in Tanya. The two avos are opposite. That's why he's called Tzadik V'Tevlei V'Tzadik Gamor. Because, or Tzadik V'Ralei, Tzadik V'Ralei, Tzadik Sheini Gamor. Because Eino Gamor means his Havat Hashem is incomplete. And therefore he's a Tzadik V'Ralei, because he has a little bit of evil. I want to tell you something. They got a new car for the Rebbe many years ago, okay? You know the story? They got a new car for the Rebbe. And they made it custom made that the Rebbe shouldn't have to bend. It was hard for the Rebbe to bend to go into the car. They made it a brand new car. The car pulled up in 770. Everybody was wanting, I wasn't there, I was here. They were looking what's going to happen. The Rebbe walked out of the 770 to the car, and the Rebbe said, "Where's the old car?" And I told the Rebbe, "We bought a new car." So they said, "What's wrong with the old car?" The Rebbe refused to go into the car. He waited, and every second by the Rebbe was precious. He waited until they brought the old car back. He never went. The new car is in storage.
The Rebbe says if you want 100, ask for 200.
In Ruchnias,
Then it's all those guys, why are you asking me to give you a baracha for the old boss? Ask me to give you a baracha for 5 new cars. That's all pleasures.
For the purpose was...
we're banned what for?
Yeah.
No, you don't need 5 cars. The purpose is to money to give tzedakah. In other words, to give it all tzedakah and take what you must have for yourself. Let's have a fundraiser right now. Giving tzedakah means you give away everything and you only keep what you yourself need. Minimally. That's the tzedakah mishpat. That's what it says. Last is tzedakah mishpat. Says in Mefarshim, that's what it means. Tzedakah mishpat. I make a judgment. How much do I really deserve from this money? It's not my money, it's Hashem's money. Listen, we're not at this level, but we shouldn't think that that's even worse than everything.